So yesterday we tier 4'd weapon hacks, and although I had a ton of fun making the video and trying her out in tier 4 and using her as a support as well, I had a lot of people, rightfully so, not really into the video because it's a paywall character, etc. But what if I told you there was a secret third reason why I tier 4'd weapon hacks? Not just for the PvP stuff, not just for the support value, but also for dispatch. And I don't, when I say dispatch, let me be clear here, I don't mean farming dispatch, because no, you wouldn't use Weapon X to farm dispatch, you would use other characters that are much stronger. When you go into dispatch and you click on the dispatch, the word dispatch, after you click on a sector, you go into this place here where you set characters based on different parameters, and you can see the parameters like that, and then they add up their growth score and they level up the sector, and then the higher the sector is leveled up, the more passive gold you farm per hour. So this is the main way, along with completing the challenges of each sector, right? Like these blue challenges here. This is the main way that you increase your passive rewards and the duration they build up for in order to collect more of them when you do collect them in dispatch. So this actually represents a lot of gold. Sometimes, 10, 12 million gold a day. This is probably the biggest source of gold for players in the game. And I think a lot of players don't even realize how to fully maximize it. So, of course, you want to go through and beat as many sectors of dispatch as possible. Try to get to the end of 12. Try to get to the end of 13. Absolutely. Then you want to go back and systematically clear all of the challenges, or as many challenges as you can, in every single sector. Absolutely. But then you have to come here and you have to auto-equip. You have to press that auto-equip button underneath the character portrait icons on the right side. And you have to try and get that growth score as high as possible, particularly when you click on, next to the gold icon, there's a question mark. You click on this one, particularly for the sectors that have the resources that you most desperately need. My guess for the majority of players, obviously you need gold, but my guess the majority of players also are going to want the Sector 10 drops, which I believe is CCF, the Sector 9 and 8 drops, which are the other Tier 3 materials, Titan component packs, and Essence of Dimension. This takes way too long to show up, but yeah. So 8, 9, and 10 are probably players' biggest focus. Also 13, because 13 gives you... Oh, it's not 8, 9, and 10. Okay. But anyways... the tier 3 materials, you have the sector 13 that gives you both, right? It gives you Titan component packs and Essence of Dimension, and then maybe 11 and 12, which gives you Celestial Essence once you don't have to focus on tier 3 materials. But you have to come back here, right? And this is sort of the goal of the video. You have to come back here every... I mean, you could say every 6 months. You could do every 3 months. You don't have to come back like once a week. You really, unless you're making like huge gains on your roster. It really just depends on how quickly you build up characters. But I would say checking on it every like 3 to 4 months is probably fine. And then shuffling around 1 or 2 characters, or noting the sectors where you're really close to the next level and just building up some characters. I'm going to show you that today, but I want to show this to you because you can see here, my combat power is just above level 20. So I just reached the next level, right? I'm above it by 11,977. So check this out. At the beginning of yesterday's video, before I had tier 4 weapon hex, she was at 382,000 for her growth score. 382,000 at transcended level 80. After I tier 4'd her, that 382 jumped to 459. So that's an increase of like whatever, 70,000, 80,000 points, right? That was more than enough, just barely, but enough to push my combat power from 19 to 20. And if you take her off, you can see it drops down to 19, but you can see that it works the correct way. But you can also see that the system itself has limitations. So as you can see here, if I just click auto equip, something weird happens. I'm going to leave this page so that it doesn't confirm my results there. But if you take a look here, if you just rely on auto equip, sometimes it does weird stuff. So you can see there I'm at level 20. If I click auto equip, for some reason, it wants to put Shadow Shell down at the bottom in the poison category, in the poison tag category. And in doing so, it takes Scorpion off, and I don't have any more worries of the Sky because the other 3 members are all committed to other sectors. So this actually drops my combat power below where it could be. So you actually have to go in and you have to make some manual adjustments yourself. But that tier 4, and in which case it would be, you know, taking her off of here, going and putting her there, and then going and putting a Scorpion there, right? That would be the adjustment that I would have to make manually. And so the tier 4 weapon hex not only gave me a support for PvE, not only gave me a support slash DPS for zombies PvP, but it also gives me an extra boost here on my dispatch, because now instead of farming whatever it was, 270 gold per minute, I'm now farming 285 gold per minute. And that doesn't seem like a lot. You're like, Alex, an extra 15 gold per minute? Like, even if you multiply that by 60, it's not very much. You're talking about extra 900 gold per hour. You multiply that by a day, that's only an extra 20,000 gold a day. Like, 20,000 gold is nothing. Like, that's very much nothing. Yeah, you're right, that's nothing. But now if you take that 21,000 gold and you can do it for all 13 dispatch sectors, if you can just bump them up by 1 level, right? But just bump their growth score up by 1 level, now you're talking about 270,000 gold a day, right? So again, 270,000 gold a day doesn't sound like that much. Over a month, that's only an extra 8 million gold, but that's just for boosting up every sector once. If you have multiple buffs that you can make, if you have multiple growth grades that you can upgrade to, that number could be so much bigger. And you know, you may have just auto-equipped this when you first did your dispatch years ago and then you never touched it. So it could be due for some massive gains. You may not even have to upgrade characters. You may just be able to move a couple around and suddenly you're farming an extra, whatever, 500,000 gold a day, etc. So you go through here. This is basically what I was saying. Spend, you know, every 3 to 4 months, spend like 2 to 5 minutes looking at this. It's not a big time sink. It's not something crazy that you have to be farming for or whatever, dedicating so much time to. But you basically just look and you see, you're looking for any growth score. By the way, what you want to do is, what I was saying before, is you want to put your highest growth grade characters, your tier 4s, your most heavily invested characters, as long as they fit the parameters, right? You want to put them in the sectors where you want the resource the most, because it's going to give you more of that resource. Whether it's tier 3 materials, tier 2 materials, whether it's celestial essence, right? So that's why I was saying like sector 10, sector 9, sector 13, whatever. But then once you've done that and you've established that, then you want to go through and look, okay, sector 24, we're getting pretty close to the, you know, to being 25, but we're not quite there yet. Okay, 23, there we go. Sector 7. So we're going to go through and see, okay, sector 4. So sector 4 and sector 7, sector 7G, both are on the cusp of leveling up. So now what I can do is I can look at this list and I can take some of the characters that I probably, and again, this is really depends on your account. Obviously you're going to have to know how you built your account. No one can really help you with this. So you just have to remember looking at these characters. Like I have tier 4 Professor X. I have tier 4 Dr. Doom. I built up Hulkbuster and Echo to level 80. I gave Echo probably a little bit of a better build because she's like a speed PvP support. So what I want to do, I want to ignore those characters. I want to focus on like maybe Elektra, maybe Icarus, maybe Drax, and maybe Moon Girl, and maybe Vision, perhaps Vision. And why I'm focusing on them is because they probably have really shitty builds. And what I'm aiming to do is to just bump their builds up just enough that I can get that. I'm missing about 40,000 growth score. Now, if you were me in this situation, like if you were in this situation, but you had your roster and you knew for sure your Corvus was 1 star, or you knew that your Red Skull was tier 1, then just getting Corvus to 6 stars or 5 stars maybe, or getting Red Skull to tier 2, or transcending Red Skull, that's going to give you enough combat power to get to the next level. In my case, I know that all of these characters are basically at their max, unless I were to tier 4 Hulkbuster, which I'm absolutely not going to do on, sorry buddy. And so because of that, I'm looking for other methods of upgrade. But yeah, if you have just an easy tier 2 or easy tier 3, whatever upgrade, do that first rather than spending potentially more gold and resources and time doing what I'm going to do. And then here on 4, this one's a little tougher because we're about 80,000 combat score away, which is a little bit higher than I would want it to be. And we don't seem to have any easy upgrades to make that I'm looking at. Like maybe Arrow needs an upgrade or could use an upgrade. Maybe Dormammu. Yeah, but I'm a little bit doubtful. And so basically you go back, right? And now you go and see for any of those characters, can I make some easy upgrades? So we'll go down to Electra. For example, an easy upgrade would be slapping on an Obelisk or a CTP. If they don't have one, that's going to give you a ton of growth score. Icarus, we're all good there. They actually have mighty CTPs, which is more than I expected them to have. Drax doesn't. Okay, so this is a perfect example here. So Drax doesn't. I'm at 355,000 growth score. Remember, I only needed 40,000. I only needed 40k to go to the next level, and he's at 355. So if I can get him to 395, we're done, right? We're done. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't really want to give him this mighty CTP of regen, and I don't necessarily have to give him this mighty CTP of regen. I could give him an Obelisk, for example. So here, let's go ahead and give him, maybe that's one's a little bit too good. This poison damage, 1 with 4 seconds, whatever. That's fine. So now he goes from 355 to 366. So that's not a lot, right? That's only 11,000, but that's 25% of what we needed to do to get that 40k to boost that sector. So, okay, we did that for Drax. We could actually go further with Drax specifically. I could go ahead and awaken his ISO, for example. So we're at 366, and now from 366, we went up to 370. So again, that's not a lot. It's only another 4,000, but we've now put in 15,000, which is about a third, a little bit more than a third of what we needed to get that sector. We could go ahead and upgrade his Uru, for example. Some of these decisions are going to be more expensive than others, and it depends on your resource pool and what you can do. But these are just some examples of things that you can do to take advantage of, you know, easy upgrades to get a little bit more gold. And if you do that across multiple sectors, that's going to add up. It's going to compound over time. For example, here, Moon Girl, she's missing multiple Uru. She's missing multiple Uru amplifications. Obviously, the ISO's garbage. And then, okay, she does have an Obelisk. But we can go ahead and clean this up and see where she's going to move from 327,000 growth score. So nothing too crazy, but if we take a look here with a couple of extra Uru and the ISO also maxed out, her growth score is now at 41,000. So that is a difference of, again, about 14,000. So between Drax and between Moon Girl, we've bumped up almost 30,000, which means we should only be about 10,000 points away on Dispatch Sector 7 from that next one. And as you can see there, we're right there. We're 13k away from getting to the next level. And so this is something you can do as like a side project every like 3 to 4 months, or even every 6 months. You don't have to do it that often. And this way you can maximize the amount of gold that you're just passively farming while you upgrade characters that you actually like, even if they don't necessarily serve an immediate active role on your roster. I'm not going to go out and play with Drax and World Boss Legend. I'm not going to use Moon Girl leadership, but they're still serving a vital purpose on my roster because I need that gold, right? I need that gold to farm. So yeah, hopefully this helps you guys out. And I just thought it would be funny to start the video by saying there was a secret third reason to tier 4 this character. Obviously, don't tier 4 weapon hex unless you really like the character or you're really impressed with the reviews you've seen. Anyways, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching the video. Smash the like button if you enjoy the content, or do it, whatever. Tier 4 characters for dispatch sectors. Who knows? And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.